this whole marketing and commercialization plan of our newest product is going to start right now. Now that we're live, I'm going to bring it up. On March 31st, you're going to see, if not before then, the next iteration of e-commerce for contractors through Contractor Commerce, which is Conversational AI. It wasn't scary because we knew we were right. It is an AI experience. However, it has guardrails that allows the contractor to control some of the different variables. I want to make it 100% possible, feasible, and sensible for a consumer to buy a fully installed mechanical anything off a contractor's website without a human being going into the home. The big change we had to make at the company was like, worked our butts off to make it possible for a human being to finally go through on Joe Strip Matter's website and get a fully installed system, 3 different options with all the details. And now the primary user is not the human being, it's a robot.
Today's episode is brought to you by one of our show partners, UpFrog.
UpFrog is the OG when it comes to pricing transparency online. They find system replacement leads through paid ads and have developed an entire system to drive those hard-to-find system replacement opportunities, nurture the leads, and book them into sold systems before your team arrives to help you grow your business.
I want to give a huge shout out to MarketStorm for sponsoring today's episode.
You've heard of Google ads, Facebook ads, and SEO, but did you know that there's an entire ecosystem, like 80% of the internet, that ads can be served on that you barely heard about?
That's where MarketStorm operates.
They leverage data science and AI to build customer profiles for your ideal customers and get your ads in front of prospects before they are ready to hire a pro, planting your brand in their minds early and often.
To chat with a team about how they can help you grow your business, visit MarketStorm.ai.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I am one of your hosts, sitting virtually next to my co-host, Joshua Crouch. And we have the world famous Tall Paul Redman on the show today. I'm excited to have you on the show. We've known each other for years, man, back from Linux days. You made a transition over to is it SaaS? Would it be considered SaaS? Because it's not.
It is SaaS. Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
SaaS. So transition over into SaaS, and it's been cool to watch that journey and follow you along. For those who don't know who you are, would you mind giving a brief introduction of yourself?
Gosh, where do I start? Man, I wish that preamble conversation we were having about tracking our health metrics was recorded, because it says a lot about our personalities. But so I'm Paul, currently the president of Contractor Commerce. You may have heard of us before, but we started the industry's first e-commerce platform for the trades, which when we started it was a wild kind of fringe idea that's become much more mainstream. And now, thanks to AI and search and all those, and just the clock that we're all on with consumer behavior, is much more normal. But I've been in the home services space really my whole career. Tersh mentioned I worked for a manufacturer for about 10 years. I spent about 3 or 4 years at a marketing agency. So the kind of story behind that story was, the story behind that story was, I only knew one path or one idea. I'm a first generation college student, and my family or whatever, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And turns out when you get out of college, like, people aren't just handing you a job. So I had a really difficult time finding a job, but I knew for whatever reason, still seems to be true. I knew that if I could make it in, if I could just get my foot in the door in corporate America, I'd be fine. What's up, Travis? We're just talking about you. I knew if I got into corporate America, I'd be fine. So the first company that ever gave me a shot was Lennox, the air conditioning manufacturer. So, grew up in Michigan, Ohio, moved to Colorado and started in HVAC, moved all over the country, landed in, did all sorts of different things, corporate projects, leadership development, sales management, et cetera. And, landed in Charlotte, North Carolina about 10 years ago. And once we landed here, it was like, okay, at every stop we had a kid. We're like, we're not moving again. And I had always just had
because you didn't want any more kids?
Right.
Or you
I'd
found
always had
Charlotte
this-
to be your home, is like, we really enjoy it here, or both?
The latter. Yeah. Well, it's starting over with a family. You guys, you may have, you've experienced this, Josh, like, when you go to a new town, you get a new house, you buy your house, and you realize, like, no one knows you, and you can't see it at the time, but you start to build really good memories and have a lot of shared experience. But it's a really, really hard process. So I've always wanted to have really, really deep roots where I am. So, like, I'm in a small town right now, Davidson, North Carolina. This is Davidson College. My kids go to school right over there. And so I was trying to merge, like, my entrepreneurial, like, tech startup interests with, like, really just living in a place that I could call home. So anyways, that's part of the story. But yeah, left and in 2021 joined with Will Hausch, who had become a really good friend of mine through the industry, similar to how I knew you guys, like just
Yeah.
bump into you, get to know you and become friends. And at about that time, it had become abundantly clear that like, consumers shop online for just about everything. So we launched Contractor Commerce and been off to the races
How
ever since.
nerve-wracking was that? Because whenever you first launched it, it was a pretty taboo topic. I loved it. I loved talking about it, but it was
Yeah.
very much like,
I love the
uh
comments when you would ask if you should put pricing online. I vividly remember,
yeah.
I don't even know how long ago it was now, but maybe 2, 3, maybe 3 years ago, I just, like,
Yeah.
just personal profile and say, "Hey, should we do this or
Mm.
should we not?" Or like, "What's your opinion?" And it was like, you could have thought they were voting for their president or something. It's like
It
50-50.
Crazy.
And the comments were
Bad Bunny, Kid Rock is what it was. Like
yes. Right
100%.
on. That's what it felt
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and I'm like, "Man, this is really interesting." And I think there's still a lot of hesitation around some of that, and maybe you can speak to
Yeah.
some of that because you guys obviously have those conversations and you hear those
Yeah.
fears more so than anyone else does. And then how we like maybe some like how have things transitioned over the last couple of years, because I think that would be interesting for people, because 3 years ago ish ChatGPT and conversational AI wasn't, it was there, but nobody really we didn't know half of what we know now. I mean, now you have
You
an
know,
idea, you can spin up an app in like an hour,
well,
which is
Josh, you
insane.
you mentioned, conversational, search and stuff like that. I mean, I'm saying way back. I wanna say 2018, maybe 2019. I mean, well, pre-ChatGPT. I remember Gary Vee said this, and it stuck with me. It might have been earlier than that, it might have been 2016. He said that your blog posts need to be conversational, and that's why, um, I think it was probably before you came on the podcast, Josh, I started doing the transcription of every episode in the read more
I
section
remember.
because,
And we'd hide
it
it, but it would be there.
yeah, yeah, it was in, like, you have to click the read more, but it would be down at the bottom of the screen because Gary Vee was like, "It's conversational search is the future." And a lot of people were like, "You're crazy." But then he mentioned, uh, and it made sense to me. That's the only reason why I did it, 'cause it wasn't just because Gary Vee said it. It actually made sense because whenever people say, like, "Hey, Alexa, do this," or "Where's the best such and such?" "Where's the best HVAC company?" or "Who's the best HVAC company?" And I was like, "Okay, I can see the dots connecting now." And then, Amazon, there was a time there, talk about online pricing, there was a time there where Amazon was gonna do HVAC, and everybody was freaking out because all the contractors were gonna go away, and it was just gonna be you're
And
only
it's
gonna do
gonna be
labor.
like you just, "Hey, I have a 2-ton system, find me a local
Yeah.
contractor." And
Yeah, and
it was gonna be like
so that was the
$1,000 to
fear.
install it, stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that's what everybody was afraid of, and I feel like that's probably something that y'all had to battle as well, but, um, now it's not really the Alexa stuff, it's more so the, ChatGPT and the Perplexity and all of that, and the Gemini that's doing the search. How
Yeah.
how does that like, are those types of and I'm transitioning straight into another question here for you.
We'll
Uh,
come back to the original one at some point,
we'll
but
go
it's
back to
all
that
good.
one in a minute. But how does that affect like, is it are they able to crawl the sections on the website for the pricing?
Yeah, so I thought we would end up in this area. I'm glad we're starting here. I get to decide when we announce things at the company. So this whole marketing and commercialization plan of our newest product is going to start right now because now that we're live, I'm going to bring
All
it up.
right.
On
Exclusive.
March 31st, you're going to see, if not before then, the next iteration of e-commerce for contractors through Contractor Commerce, which is conversational AI. So when you think back to, or conversational commerce as we're, calling it kind of behind the scenes, when you think back to the first version of Contractor Commerce, like we built the online store capability to sell a physical product. So like Tersh, you could sell air filters, and really the part of the market that served was the contractor who already had a an air filter or a subscription business that was built into the walls of their business. The core of the market would come to us and say like, we're never really going to prioritize that, but we want to sell memberships. We want to sell memberships, and we want to let someone buy a system, right? And we were like, well, consumers not just going to check out for a system. This is back in 2018, 2019. So we built a capability to do what you guys are probably familiar with, and there's others. Buying journeys is what we've named it. The ability for a consumer, and this is key, to go as far through the buying process as possible on the contractor's website. So we got to work, and you talk about like the early days, Tersh. Like you said, was it scary? It wasn't scary because we knew we were right. We absolutely knew we were right. But what was humbling was we were really early. So like I would talk to people, and I'd had a decent run in my career, but I was calling people trying to talk about this idea, and it was like we were speaking two different languages. Like they were looking at me like, hold on, what? Why? I don't get it. Well, all of that has passed. There's now, thousands of contractors who've done this. But something changed. Like AI search became a thing. So people are now going as far through the buying process as possible within ChatGPT or within Gemini or within Perplexity. I think there's even some like not a ton of brand loyalty. Like people bounce around these things, and the cost to use those things is coming down so fast. So the big change we had to make at the company was like, worked our butts off to make it possible for a human being to finally go through on Joe Strip Matters website and get a fully installed system, 3 different options with all the details. And now the primary user is not the human being, it's a robot, right? So the next step was like, how do we get Contractor Commerce to operate on the contractor's behalf within ChatGPT or within the Ask Engine or whatever you want to call it? So that's step one. But we still believe firmly at Contractor Commerce that the buying journey should happen on the contractor's website. So what we're launching on March 31st, I kind of mentioned it, Conversational AI. It is a version of our plugin that looks and feels just like an AI experience. It is an AI experience. However, it has guardrails that allows the contractor to control some of the different variables. So an example of this is like Joe, who by the way was a great power user of our program. Let's say a consumer's on Joe's website and they want to do deep research on a water heater, right? And so they're engaging with the
So this
with
person's an
contract.
engineer. Okay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We all know
Or
though, we've all had those customers in the past.
right, but let's say Joe is like, look, I only sell AO Smith, so I don't want you to guide them to Bradford White or whatever that is. There's the ability for a controlled yet like kind of guided AI experience that keeps the contractor within the website. The next iteration of that or the next phase is that conversation. Here's where we get really in the weeds. That conversation should be able to happen in ChatGPT and also on the contractor's website and pick up where it left off. So there's a lot of development, a lot of work going on, but I'll make a statement here. The idea is, now keep in mind, we've always sort of built for the fringe. Like we've always built on the like edge of the market, trying to be ahead. This is not a popular statement and is not something I've said before, but we want to make it quite possible. And Josh, I'm like ducking down because I know your background, but like I want to make it 100% possible, feasible, and sensible for a consumer to buy a fully installed mechanical anything off a contractor's website without a human being going into the home. And so I think Rilla was, one of their taglines was like the end of ride-alongs. The edge of what we're trying to build for is the end of sales calls. Do I think it will be the end of sales calls? Absolutely not. Do I think that the majority of value transaction in the industry will happen when someone goes in the home? Yes. But we're going to build for a world where you can go on the website.
There will be a segment. It's just like everything else. I think sometimes like, and maybe it's the political climate, or it's always like the doomsday scenario of everything when in reality, everybody buys differently. Some people want to have someone in house to like explain things and like, because they can see it and they can walk through it and ask those questions. And sure, like I just like Tersh, and I'm sure yourself, Paul, we use ChatGPT or I've been using Claude and Gemini a lot more lately, but using those for just helping me understand things. Like I told you guys, not to get back on the health thing, I got my blood results back. I took the report. The report was pretty good, but it wasn't like 8th grade level, like dumbed down to my level. So I threw it in there and I'm like, okay, just tell me what's good, what's bad, what I can do
Yeah.
differently, all
Like
that
a
kind of
third
stuff.
grader. I say
Yeah,
that
I
all the
mean,
time.
it like
Like,
I understood it so much better because like they use all the uh, medical terms for different things. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is, and so it's kind of the same thing as far as breaking these things down in a way that contractors or homeowners can understand. And what's really interesting is, and Paul, you may know this just because you're in that space. Tersh, I don't know if you know this, but Google has made it very obvious that so like if you search for like cost of an AC system or whatever, something along those lines, the online estimate button right below. So to get the search bar, and then Google always has like that bar underneath that says like maps, images, videos, etc. There is a little bar there, especially on mobile. It's like says online estimates right below it. And if you click on that, it changes the entire result to storefronts, people who have pages on their website about cost, and things like that. And the the research I've done, there is very, very, very few that have pages on their website that actually have this any sort of information or even optimized for that. It is a huge opportunity. Just like anything else, you got to act pretty soon because people like yourself pushing this to your customers and other, there's other platforms out there, they're going to be doing it. And people like myself understand this, and we're working with our customers to figure it out because we need to provide our value to our customers and help them with things that they don't understand. But it's coming. And between that and then anytime you ask for like contractors, it gives you pricing information in the AI search stuff, whether it's like they pulls from reviews and even Google on reviews. Now it's not just go leave a 5-star review and put your words in there. It gives you options of the price, what you thought of the price, what you thought of the service. They're capturing that information. I actually we're doing an outbound reviews thing through most of our clients just because we've realized that there's a lot of power in that with AI search stuff. But we have a client that he only wanted to do it to his system replacements, like an outbound review to his old customers. And I asked him why. He's like, well, because the service guys, I don't want the customers hitting the price button that were too high and stuff like. I'm like if you're scared of Google, like we're not going to grow a business here. You're going to be scared and you're not going
Right.
to show up. But that's the fear, and those are the things people are thinking and talking about is the cost stuff. The cost is going to be out there.
Yeah.
It is not a secret. It's no longer a secret.
they will
And
get it somewhere.
The coaching companies are doing a disservice to this industry by not pushing their contractors to be on the forefront of this. I've heard recently, we've had Marcus Sheridan on the podcast. We had him at our event. He was a speaker at, I'm not going to name the name, coaching organization.
EIA. Yeah.
No, that's the one that's this week.
No,
but
it
it's not-
wasn't. I'm sorry. It rhymes with certain path. I was there.
And I'm not going to
I was
mention
aware.
any name. I won't mention any names.
Bleep
But
that
he
out.
told me
Sorry.
he actually refunded them the speaking agreement because what he teaches with endless customers and pricing up front and on your website, they completely went against it, psychologically or philosophically. And I'm just like, why are you teaching contractors to hide the price? Because you know what the number one thing on phone calls is? The number one objection is they're asking for price. And if you don't overcome that objection, you're missing a lot of opportunity to get in house.
Yeah.
So that was my
And
long
it's so-
monologue because I have a
No,
lot to
it's
say
so-
on this topic.
It's so true. And Josh, it's so baked into the industry, that you shouldn't do that. But really, they're not even looking for price. They're looking to reduce uncertainty, reduce anxiety. The price just helps them orient with, hey, do I have the money? Do I have the resources to pay for this? And that's regardless of, like
Not only
John
that,
just said, transparency is key.
it's not only that, it's also the fact that whatever search engine tells them, okay, you should be expecting to pay $12,000. And the last time they replaced the system was pre-COVID and they paid $4,000. There's a lot less sticker shock whenever someone comes in there with 12,000 or 15,000 or whatever. And also if somebody comes in there with 25,000, they can ask why. Like there might be a legitimate reason why it's worth $10,000 more than what I'm expecting to pay, but I just want to know why. Otherwise, you're like, this is $20,000 more than what I expected to pay.
Well, and that's to get back to Marcus. That's his whole philosophy. It's not even necessarily to put the exact pricing. It's to say, why is it higher? What could cause it to go higher? Why is it lower? What's the difference between a licensed contractor and a non-licensed like, what are all the things and factors? I know Florida is like a breeding ground for AC companies, and I love seeing their posts about Florida stuff because these guys rip each other apart.
So
But
bad.
yeah, because because so many guys are unlicensed and they just start doing companies that they're literally doing it for beer money, essentially.
Yeah.
But
$500. That's
yeah,
what they want.
but that stuff needs to be explained to your customers so they know what they're getting. Because most likely those companies, just because they installed a cheap price doesn't mean they're going to be around in 3 or 5 years when you need them to do a warranty claim because they installed it wrong. They're just getting the money now and they're gone. You probably won't see them again. And my thing has always been own the conversation instead of let someone else own the conversation, like Angie and Home Advisor and whatever other that top 10 best contractor list there are that say, oh, the pricing should be this and this. It's not true. None of those prices are accurate. None of them are even close to what actual homeowners pay. And it sets up the contractor in a
What
bad
do you
light.
tell people, Paul, whenever that's their fear is like, oh, my competitors are going to learn my prices?
Yeah. Well, they already know your prices. Like they've seen invoices, all those sort of things. But one of the
100%.
analogies that I like to think about is I'll put you on the spot here, Tersh. Tersh, imagine you get an ad right now, 2026 F-150 Raptor, 15 grand.
It's stolen.
Right? Like, but wait a minute. The argument would be like, hey, that dealer who's selling it for 115, like there's the guy in Florida who will do it for $500. Like but the only reason you can do that, the only reason you can say it's stolen is because you're generally aware of how much a good F-150 costs because because the car industry has done a really, really good job of leading first with price. If
Yeah.
if the race to the bottom was truly a thing, I want to be careful not speaking absolutes here, but there would be no competing car dealerships. Don't you ever see
Yeah.
3 car dealerships next to each other? Like they would just all get down to 50 cents at some point. Like, no, give human beings more credit. Like they're reasonable but like you said, you saw that $15,000 Raptor and you're like, something's not right. Well, in the AC
Someone
world,
else
like
may
you
be
have to
like,
go
yeah,
through.
sure, I'll buy it for 15 grand.
Totally. The
You
Temu
get pulled
Raptor.
over.
I mean, you can
Yeah,
find
yeah.
one for 15 grand and it's actually legit. Buy it.
Right, exactly. So,
But so
but
funny story,
anyhow,
Paul.
You're right, though.
This is Bernie was at a company. They're about a $10 million company in Wisconsin, but this is pre Relentless Digital, pre anything that I've done since. I was actually at Professional Services at the time. So they had 7 salespeople and they did a lot of estimates. So they did a lot of mailers and things to generate estimates and stuff like that. And they had stacked. They literally gave discounts to their customers for everybody else's quotes when they won a job, like 25 or $50 off, or whatever. And they had stacks of these. So if you don't think your competitors have any clue what your pricing is, you are lying to yourself. I promise you, they know.
I'm hesitant to share this, but I'll go ahead and do it. I don't think the consequence is that high, but one of the features that we're building into conversational commerce, because if we're thinking we're in a difficult position because we have to be what is best for the contractor. Ultimately, they're our customer, but we also have to err to like what is best for the consumer so that they'll use the thing, right? There's this fine line. And one of the elements that we're testing right now is the ability through that conversational experience to just take a picture of the quote or estimate that you have on your desk from whoever else and analyze it and come through and say like, hey, here's how this matches up to what we do. I noticed they don't say anything about the sump pump that you're going to need. Or I noticed like building that, like taking all the data that exists within our system and their system and through our Service Titan integration, pulling data there to give the customer a second opinion in a way that, look, they're going to go put it in, like you said, Josh, they're going to screenshot it and put it in Chat GPT anyway. I'd much rather have them screenshot it and put it in, put it in my system. So yeah, we'll see.
Well,
Now there are, or go ahead.
I was actually going to transition to George's question because you talked a little bit about like second opinions, and I'm like, oh, this is a good segue into like marketing strategy for contractors because none of these tools or things that you put on your website, whether it's an online booking tool or a online pricing estimator of some sort, does anything if you can't get people there. And I think you're kind of going to go into that a little bit, but George asked, what marketing strategy would you implement with this system? And I'm going to just say, I'm going to stay tool agnostic here, but he's mentioning a high level is because I know he uses that and we've worked on some of those things together. But can it connect to like a third party tool for text message follow-ups, email follow-ups, et cetera? So what would you say
Yeah.
to that, Paul?
Well, first thing that I'll mention is, most contractors have a generally high bounce rate on their homepage. Most people come to the website and then they leave. They spend a little bit of time and they leave. Not everybody, but it's generally high. You mentioned, Josh, that the number one thing people call on the phone for is pricing related. So you can
Mhm.
make a pretty good assumption that a lot of that homepage traffic or traffic that ends up on your website through search is trying to get oriented with pricing. I think that's pretty commonplace. So where I start with our customers on step one, a great website to look at is traviscrawfordhvac.com. George, if you're
Tersh may
if you're
know
by a
that guy a
computer,
little
which
bit.
I know that
Travis
fella.
Crawford. Travis.
They're
Nope.
boys.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
they've got 3 or 4 giant calls to action that you can't miss. Instant generator estimate, instant HVAC quote, instant water heater quote, because they know that people are there and they're curious. And so part of it is just having really clear ways for your customers to get what they might be there for. The counterpoint to that is like a lot of contractors just have contact forms. And so it's just a general contact form where it's like name, address, phone number. How did you hear about us? What can we help you with? Like people don't, not in this age, people don't want to, what's up, Dario? People don't want to fill out a contact form. Like they want to get what they came for now. So that's step one. The other piece, and this isn't intended to be self-serving. It's not, look, running a business is complex, marketing is complex. It's not all about online pricing and instant estimates and e-commerce. But in every area of your marketing, you need to let people know that they can get pricing now. And all that does, this is the misconception that I've had to manage for years. That doesn't mean that the customer is going to get pricing and they're done with you. What it's doing is it is allowing them into your funnel so that you can begin to nurture them, get in the home and sell. And so one of the things contractors are usually working with customers who are pretty close to the point of purchase, right? When you do something like this, you might be engaging with someone who's 6 months out. So you just have to understand that treatment strategy because you will get more people. I always say like, quote more jobs, sell more jobs. Like it's as simple as that.
So George's question, it is difficult to pinpoint one thing because there's a lot of things that could work. There's some contractors that I've seen creating video content explaining why their prices is different, similar to like the market share method of like, why is it high? Why is it low? And all the questions in between. And one of the best ways to answer those questions or get like to feed yourself is to go to a Claude and say, hey, I'm just going to keep using Marcus Sheridan because we had a great conversation with him and he was at our event and everyone loved his content. But I want to talk about pricing and I want to be upfront to my customers. I want to use his endless customers or they ask you answer system. Ask me a bunch of questions that my homeowners are probably thinking about in regards to replacing my water heater, name the thing, and just start creating content about it. And this is something that actually we're working on implementing with clients. The hard part is we have to get the questions and they have to answer them because I can't answer them for them. Like, Paul, you've been in the marketing industry, like Tersh, I know you've done articles and stuff. Like there's regular like SEO content, like service pages, location pages, which typically has to have like certain stuff in it to even be relevant. But content like this, I am not going to be liable for what it says in that article. And you're going to hate me if I put the wrong thing and your market's different. But so some of that stuff that's where these partnerships with whether it's a social media company or whatever you're doing, you really have to work together. It doesn't mean it's a set it and forget it and someone's just going to do it for you anymore. It means you have to be willing to communicate back and forth. The clients we've done this for, we did one right after Marcus was at our event because I knew I was going to have clients come ask me like, "Oh, can we do this?" It ranked on ChatGPT in like 3 days after we
I
posted it.
remember that. That was
And that was
crazy.
in Don't tell Joe, but that was in for water heaters in Dallas, Fort Worth. So,
Hey,
Joe, there's
plenty
already
of
people
water
onto
heaters.
this, just so
We
you
just
know.
lost one viewer.
Shout out to, hey, Joe, this is before I knew you, but I had Bacon Plumbing replace my water heater in Plano, Texas about 10 years ago. So small world.
That's funny. We
Yeah, what you should do, go to ChatGPT and look for pricing for HVAC systems in Charlotte, North Carolina. And if Travis Crawford and there's 5 or 6 others in this market doesn't show up, I will buy you a beer or whatever. I'll have to figure out how to get
Let
it
me
to you.
search
But
it right now. I'm just kidding.
you don't even drink theirs, or barely.
Hello, home service professionals. Do you want to maximize your marketing budget? Then you need to be using call tracking from CallRail. Let's say you noticed a spike in new leads this month. To find out what's driving them, you just log into your CallRail dashboard. Is my new Facebook ad outperforming my other ads? Or is paid search knocking it out of the park? Or maybe it's time to retire those newspaper ads. Since CallRail assigns a unique phone number to each of my marketing efforts, I know where my best leads come from and which efforts to scrap. CallRail shows you your most cost-effective marketing channels so you can get back to business. Go to callrail.com/SBMpod and try it for free.
Today's episode is powered by Cirrus Systems.
Sarah is all about removing the clutter and unnecessary touch points to run your home service business profitably.
They use AI dispatching to get the right tech to the right call automatically, and job time efficiency to ensure your entire team runs like a profit-generating machine.
Get a tech upgrade for your business at get.sarah.tech/service-business-mastery.
We had a couple of questions from Travis and John. I think they're very similar questions, so we'll just use Travis's question. So with having pricing on the website, would there be a potential financing pricing model alongside that shown?
Well, that's a good point.
absolutely.
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
absolutely. So what we recommend is that you show both the cash price and the finance price. However, there are some contractors that truly are priced 40, 50, 60% ahead of the core market. I'll give you an example. There's a contractor in Northern California. Their good, better, best is like 26, 32, 46,000. Like it's wild, right? Sonoma Valley. In that case, you want to include some financing. But I will tell you, so first of all, as a best practice, show both. Worst case, just show financing. That's fine too. But we had some feedback with Travis. This is a good story about Travis Crawford. So Travis's radio campaigns are amazing. His marketing team is legit.
I
follow them
the
on social
story
media.
He tells me about his radios, like the
So
feedback he
good,
gets,
man.
they're hilarious.
So good. But he gave me some feedback that, they were talking about, transparent pricing on their ads, and someone went to their website and saw just the monthly price and pushed back and said, like, well, that's not transparent. Monthly pricing isn't transparent. So I recommend you do both. You show both the monthly and the
in the
you know,
car
and the
ads
full
where
price.
like it's super small and white and the background's white and they can't even really see it.
People know.
That's
People
what
know when you see, you see $214 a month or whatever, and you're like, yeah, well, I
And
have
down
a
at the bottom it
$5.90
says
credit score.
starting
It's
at
going to be $340.
$9.95 or whatever.
Yeah,
Totally.
for like 12 years.
Yep. So part of the next so right now you can finance a system through I don't want to say through Contractor Commerce, but through Travis Crawford's online store that's powered by Contractor Commerce. You can finance a job. I actually just bought my
Does that
water
connect
heater from
with-
him.
Does it have to, is there certain finance companies that works with, or what does that look like? Or can you connect
right
any
now-
finance company to it?
Today it's bring your own finance company. With our next product release, we will have integrated with a couple of different ones, but FinTurf being a good example. So those guys at FinTurf have built a great product, and you can go through the process there. In the new version of Contractor Commerce, that conversational flow, and this can of course be configured by the contractor, but we're going to try to finance jobs. We're going to try to finance systems directly through that conversational flow and get it over to the contractor. So,
So quick question on that, on the updated versions and everything. If you have I guess I'll call it the legacy version of Contractor Commerce, does it move over to that, or does it stay the legacy version?
we do call it the legacy version. So it will stay as is. We have so many contractors using it, and some that really, not some, the majority love it. Like, we built the company on it. Contractors will have the option to choose to migrate to the new experience. It's just one button and a little bit of onboarding, but we thought long and hard about that. As we get the product live and we start to really understand the difference in conversion, we might be a little more heavy-handed in telling people to move to, but just depends. It's going to be up to the contractor. Some
How
people love the
is it going to affect how we show up in rankings, as far as with the ability for that AI to search and give prices? Will it be able to communicate with Google's AI so whenever Google says, "I'm going to crawl your page and see what your prices are," is it going to be able to converse there, or is it going to be too laggy? Because the conversation itself takes a second,
oh,
but
yeah.
Google has to have it instantly. So will it have the ability to still give the prices to the AI search inside of
All of
Google?
that information lives within the plugin on the website. And there's some limitations on like if they're using our WordPress plugin, can it be crawled or not? But the idea would be that it would be found through any form of search. Now it's tricky, and Josh, you can know this. Like I can't make guarantees by any means, but yeah, directionally that's the intent.
Well,
Okay.
and in my opinion, like, so if you're already gonna have the price on your website through a tool, so you're not afraid to share it, you might as well create a blog article focused on the same thing that gets indexed from search itself. Because what will
So
happen is like the overview at the
how would
top.
you do that, Josh? Like,
What do you mean?
how would you would you do it on a completely different page? Because the
So I would
Contractor
do it on a
Commerce
page that
is a
actually
landing page.
the CTA leads to the store. So that way
So that's a
you can almost
great point.
like it's higher up in the funnel, right? Because they're like, "Oh, okay, I wanna see like a ballpark range, but now I'm ready for a quote." So now
Yeah.
throughout the article, you place like, "Get your instant estimate right now, get it today,"
Yep.
etcetera. So that way it's like they get the information that they want in the overview or the paragraph that they usually put up there, and then they can decide if they wanna go further. So and this is back
Yep.
to George's point, you can create video content with that CTA. You could YouTube videos. This would be, I mean, great for
Sure,
homeowners if
Josh.
you're
In my
targeting
spare
DIY
time, let
homeowners.
me do a bunch of videos on this stuff.
Yep. I will
That's
bring,
every
uh,
contractor probably think.
I will,
One thing every time we listen to Josh, it's like, "All right, create a video on that," and I'm like,
remind
It
"I
me
works,
after
but that's
this.
the
the
thing, and
video because
but
I have a
not enough
setup."
people do it consistently enough. Because we're
I
even
know.
we're even working on a process where we come up with the questions, and we just interview our client for an hour.
Yeah.
Because the thing is,
That's
there
a
are
good
marketing
idea.
companies putting out a bunch of AI garbage. It's literally they're not including the client. They're not.
You're not.
I'm not
You're
mentioning
not.
names because I know I'll get a video or some post later that
Shitting on
Hey,
dissect
I'm
this.
Switzerland right here.
Slipper in
I'm
my
Switzerland.
hands,
I want to bring
Switzerland.
something though. You bring up a really, really good point, and you said like, "Hey, if they land on this random page, how are you going to get them back into
Yeah.
the buying flow and the conversation?" So, I should have mentioned this. So we built a feature in our product. It's actually a product in and of itself called Infuse. And what that does is, and Travis Crawford has this enabled. You know, Travis might have, I don't know, a couple hundred pages on his website. I have no idea. But it's not uncommon for contractors to have a ton of pages. What our technology will do when enabled, Infuse will find every single page on the website and infuse a call to action that leads to the
Nice.
conversational buying journey using contextual clues. So, for instance, if there's a page about, cold nights in Eden Park, Minnesota, it will infuse language that makes it part of that blog post so that everything focuses to that conversational journey. So again, super easy to install. You literally like go into your Contractor Commerce account, hit Infuse, and you're up and running. It's like, it's
What
pretty
I
awesome.
hear
Man. We've not done a
is
good job of like telling people how awesome
I need
what
to
we
go to
built is.
TC's website and just copy and paste it. Just put my
Go
logo
for it.
on it.
You know what? Shout out to Travis Crawford. Most people actually do that, and he asked me to stop mentioning his name, but I'm in Charlotte, and he's my guy, so I gotta. He actually told me, he's like, "You." He called me into his office, and I thought he was like upset about the product. He's like, "Can you quit telling people about us, please?" I'm like, "All right, my bad."
It's hilarious. I was literally this morning texting with him and Ron
Yep.
up in Jersey. So it's funny like how much they like just in general. You've done a great job for them, and
Well,
they were
thank you.
talking about it this morning. So
Thank you. I joke in my team, my team, I'm like, guys, we've, 2,000 customers. We can quit referring just Travis Crawford, but it's such a good story because like
It is.
he's not a PE backed guy. He's in a
Nope.
great market that has some dominant players and he grows and he's built a great culture and he's always out on the front edge of technology and he's a sleeper, man. That's a really good company. So
If I ever, one thing I love about TC is the fact that, man, if I'm like, hey, Travis, I need to try out this product. He's like, yeah, man, I got you. I'll try it. I'm like, really? You don't even know what it is? He's like, I got you. Whatever it is, I trust you.
Yep.
I'm like, yes.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, because we all know Tersh and I have way too many ideas.
We do have so many ideas, except for the last time he was like, no, I'm not giving my phone number to anybody. I was like, because
Yeah.
I gave his phone number to somebody
didn't-
and they did not.
You forgot to tell
stop.
him it's in the show notes already.
It is.
I'm just kidding.
Have you ever heard, Paul? You ever heard of goat torturing? So if you, with friends like me, you don't need enemies. So basically, anybody that has my cell phone number, do not do this to me because I'll know you did it. So you put an ad on Craigslist saying that you had a new litter of kids or goats or whatever you call them, and the you had them by mistake, and you don't have enough room for them, so you're giving them away for free. And the problem is you work third shift, so you're only awake from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. So, but because of the cell phone regulations, you have to call multiple times to get through to me. Please dial like at least 4 times, and only call from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. But the first 10 people that call will get them for free, and as many as you want. And you will have the most random people calling you at 11 p.m. and just leaving the most random voicemails because they can't get
Wait.
to, because everybody's do not disturb is turned off by then. Like
Yeah.
you can't get to. But if you call like 5 times, it'll come through.
It'll come through.
And then you'll wake up in a like panic and you're like, oh, it must be an emergency. They called me like 3 times.
Did you goat torture yourself or did you do this to somebody else?
Oh, I've done this to several people before.
That's pretty solid.
But this is something I've been doing for about 15, 20 years now. So
Craigslist still around, man. Still the same user interface and everything.
Wild.
It is very much
Wild.
so.
It hasn't changed at
And
all.
it's the same clientele in there, and those clientele are the perfect ones for goat torturing too. They'll fall for it every time. So
We have derailed officially.
Amazing.
Paul, last question I got for you. It's a futuristic thing. So as far as, you've already seen this grow quite a bit. You mentioned you were early and now you feel like it's really become more mainstream. Any predictions for the next year or two on where things are headed when it comes to online pricing, transparency, trust on the internet, things like that?
or in the
Yeah,
next 6 months.
What's that, Tersh?
I said, or in the next 6 months.
I think that there's two. I have two responses to this. One, the way that people use AI to make shopping decisions or purchase decisions or research, like that is going to continue to compound, but it's going to become such a normal way of life, similar to how people Google things. I don't know, and it's way too early to say that there's going to be this seismic shift of like people moving away from Google to specific AI operators for whatever that's worth. So I'm not like, I'm not part of that school that's like, you should panic, you should do something. So I think AI has changed the way people research, the way people do everything. It's
Yeah.
going to make the really good salespeople better. It's going to make the middle of the pack salespeople not be engaged with. You're not going to want to have someone in your house who doesn't align with your values and those sort of things. So people are going to continue to go online and do that. I think at the same time, like, and this is why I love the trades, there's some fundamental things that are only, that don't really change that much. Building a great company, providing a great service, answering the phone. Like, I think there's these competing things where like, yes, voice agents are going to be great, but so is answering the phone with a human being. So I think a lot of the fundamental practices that make you a great company and a growing company are still going to be foundational. And then you make AI make you a little bit better. But No, I think it's going to be steady change over time. I do think, again, selfishly speaking, I think people are going to start transacting more than they do now and getting at least through the financing process without having someone into their home, and that plays really well for us. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a good couple years, man. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Does Amazon start selling equipment?
They already do. I mean, they already do. So I think that
Have
like
you seen the Walmart pricing? Like
it's amazing. It's
Walmart,
like
Doesn't Walmart have an agreement with Bryant or something?
no,
yeah,
it's like I think, or maybe it is, but I know I've seen a Goodman on there, and it was like below what I could buy it for, and I was like,
yeah. I mean, you can.
well, I need to buy
It's
some from
It's kind
Walmart.
of a sleeper. I mean, there's brands you can buy on Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart
Yeah.
Direct now, and you can have a pallet show up on your doorstep. So I think that like there are people who still think that like, oh, that's going to happen. Like it's already happened, and it really hasn't materially changed anything. Like people still know you have to go to a local contractor to get something like that installed. So
I'll
I
be
don't see
honest with
any.
you, like for me personally, if I have the option to buy the materials and service through one contractor versus like if I have to buy like so I'm building a shop. So if I bought the materials for the shop and then I hired the contractor is going to come to me and be like, well, you're gonna have to call the manufacturer to get the warranty for whatever, or this parts are missing. Now you have to inventory all these things, and you're missing three of these things, and now it's going to be 3 weeks, and the contractor is going to move on to a different job for 3 weeks or whatever. Um, I'd rather just have the contractor's problem,
Yeah.
and buy it all at one time, even if he does have some markup on. It's not a headache for me anymore.
I do see and have this has been part of our kind of core principles, our view on the market point of view for a long time is that manufacturers will want to have more control over the homeowner ownership, right? So whether they're
Oh yeah,
going direct to consumer or trying to just change the way that works a little bit, because the contractors can be, I mean, the contractors are the entry point for the manufacturers and the brands, the distributors, everybody. And so the extent to which they try to reach around and go direct to the yeah, that's tricky and will
They're
happen.
gonna
But
upset people.
yeah,
yeah. Well, it's already to the point now where the manufacturers, you almost have to have a manufacturer specific thermostat because they're all communicating. You have to have their thermostat, and that thermostat collects data of the customers.
Does that feel a
This
little
is
bit?
oh,
Do you guys
like
remember
this.
like when iPhones came out and then of course Samsung created theirs and like every new phone you had like a new charger? You know how irritating it
Oh
was? They
yeah,
kept changing the chargers and of course you couldn't use them
bro. The iPhone
That
18 is changing to a
again.
magnetic.
chargers.
Yes, magnetic
They
charger.
just went to
It's a
the USB-C.
I just went to the
I was so
17 and
excited because
have
because Brittany and I
Ooh,
could use the same freaking charger. I'm like, this is great because
I
I just
know.
have one
I
for you and one
want
for me.
not the 18. The 18 is gonna be magnetic, and it's gonna be like the 3 little copper things with the
Yep.
magnet that sticks to it. So it's just if it's normal, Apple's gonna make it
Anyone that
difficult.
manufactures stuff is really good at getting you to buy stuff, all the extra accessories. It's probably gonna make a lot
Yeah.
of money because those things are so
Yeah.
cheap to make. But that's a whole nother
Paul,
side topic.
we appreciate you hanging out with us. We could talk to you for days. I mean, every time we're around you, we talk for hours. If somebody is interested, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for connecting with us. They can go to contractorcommerce.com and hit talk to sales or request a demo or any of those things. Hit me up on Facebook or LinkedIn, Paul Redman on both. You can reach out to me, have someone on my team talk to you. If you're an existing customer or like Joe here, thanks for being a customer. Thanks for helping validate this. The thing I'm most proud of is the fact that we have really happy customers. It hasn't worked for everybody. Not everybody has enough website traffic or enough like structure within their business to support anything new, let alone e-commerce. But yeah, really proud of that. So contractorcommerce.com or hit me up on any of the social media channels and we'll get you connected.
And if you want Paul's cell phone number, just text me and I'll
Yeah,
get
look it
I'll
up on
just-
Craigslist. It's so
Or get
funny. I'll give you
I'll
one.
give you TCs too, Travis Crawford. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'll give you
don't go to
two.
Travis's website and engage with Contractor Commerce, please. So
Cool, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
if
you
anybody
too.
has any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. Obviously, Paul, he's a wealth of knowledge, and the entire team is a wealth of knowledge. But With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful and safe week until we talk again next time. We'll see you later.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.